So today we are focusing our eyes entirely on the Gospel of Mark. We aren't looking back at the law or forward to the epistles yet, because we need to see the King in action on the front lines. So we are breaking a little bit of tradition today. Usually, when we think of a hero, we think of strength. But today's unlikely hero is a man who started with nothing but scars. And he was such an unlikely hero, we don't even know his name. He was a man the city wanted to forget. But he is the man Jesus wanted to use to change a nation. So, following our tradition, please stand for the reading of the word. Please follow along. As evening came, Jesus said to his disciples, "Let us cross over to the other side." In Spanish, al atardecer, Jesús dijo a sus discípulos, "Crucemos al otro lado del lago." And we continue on in Mark 5, 6 through 7, and it says, "When Jesus was still some distance away, the man saw him, ran to him, and bowed low before him. With a shriek, he screamed, 'Why are you interfering with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God?' In Spanish, cuando Jesús todavía estaba a cierta distancia, el hombre lo vio, corrió a su encuentro y se inclinó delante de él, dando un alarido grito, ¿por qué te entrometes conmigo, Jesús, Hijo del Dios Altísimo? En el nombre de Dios te suplico, no me tortures." That wasn't on there, but that's okay. And the last one. The spirits begged him again and again not to send them to some distant place. Entonces los espíritus malignos le suplicaron una y otra vez que no los enviara a un lugar lejano. Amen. Please have a seat. This is a tough one, I have to say, because it's such a powerful story that I just picked out those three. And I want you to keep those three moments in mind. It's the command, the recognition, and the territory. So first off, we start with the storm. And I want you to picture the scene. It's midnight on the Sea of Galilee. The water isn't choppy. It's angry, and the wind is howling like a wounded animal. And these disciples are expert seamen. But they are terrified. They are bailing water out. They're screaming over the thunder. And where is Jesus? He's snoozing. He's taking a nap. So they wake him up in panic. "Master, don't you care we're dying?" And Jesus stands up. He doesn't argue with them. He looks at the chaos and says two words: silence, be still. So why was that storm so violent? Why was it that much chaos? It wasn't a weather pattern. It was a spiritual roadblock. The enemy knew that if the boat touched the sand of Gadara, his stronghold was finished. So the storm was a no-entry post, and it was posted there by the enemy. So I want you to listen to me. If you have been fighting a storm ever since you decided to follow God, stop asking why the waves are so high. and start realizing the enemy is terrified of where you are going to land. You aren't in a storm because you're lost. You're in a storm because you're close. You're close to making that difference. Amen? Some of you have probably faced challenges when you set a goal. When you say, I want this, I'm going to achieve that, and things start happening, and things start going against you. And it just seems like the storm gets bigger and bigger, and many times we think, well, maybe it's just not meant to be. Not realizing that's the enemy trying to stop you from getting to your shore. Amen? Amen. So the boat finally hits the sand. And out of all the places it could land, it lands in a cemetery. The disciples step out, probably still shaking, and out of the tomb comes a nightmare, a man possessed by a legion of demons. Now, legion is a military term stating about 2,000. So you're talking about one man with about 2,000 demons inside of him. So I don't care what terror movie you've seen, The Exorcist or whatever, this way surpasses it, okay? 2,000 demons inside this man. And he's covered in self-inflicted wounds. He's wearing broken chains. The religious people avoided him. The politicians tried to chain him, but watch this. The man doesn't attack Jesus. He runs to him. And before a single disciple could speak, the man shrieks, "Why are you interfering with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God?" Now stop. Let's repeat that, okay? Why are you interfering with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? See, while the same people in the city were still debating if this Jesus guy that they were hearing about was true, if he was just a good teacher, the demons in the tombs were screaming the truth. Isn't that funny? And you have to keep in mind, up to this point in the Bible, nobody had recognized Jesus as the Son of God. It was the enemy, the first to recognize him as the Son of God. Even the disciples, they thought he was just a cool teacher. Maybe he was more advanced, but they didn't recognize him yet. It was the enemy who recognized him first as the Son of God. So the recognition comes from the enemy first, many times in our lives. Last week, we saw Gideon, he didn't believe in himself. It wasn't until the enemy recognized him that he was a powerful warrior that he started believing what God had already told him. So, the devil knew exactly who was in that boat. Now, in that moment, the theology was perfect, but the heart was perverted. The message was right, the messenger was wrong. The enemy knows the name that is above every name, and he just doesn't want to submit to the authority behind it. So the enemy has been attacking your identity because he did a background check on you, on your destiny. And he recognized that hero that you have within you. He's been trying to chain you down because he's terrified of what happens when the madman of Gadara becomes the missionary. So if you have been attacked, maybe you were attacked when you were a kid. Maybe you were struck by an illness. Maybe you lost your parents. Maybe something happened in your life that seems like, oh, poor me. No, that's not poor you. That's the enemy recognizing the greatness in you and trying to stop you while you're young. Amen? Amen. So then we get to the territory. Now here's the meat of the message. In Mark 5:10, the demons start negotiating. They didn't beg for their lives. They begged for their location. They said, don't send us out to some distant place. Yeah, it was lost on me too. When I first read it, I didn't know what it meant. Don't send us out to some distant place. Why? Because the enemy wasn't interested in the man. He was interested in the jurisdiction. He used that man as a legal anchor to keep the whole Decapolis in darkness. As long as that man was screaming in the graveyard, the enemy held the deed to the city. So hear me now. The attack on your life is not about you. It's not. But it's my health, it's my house, it's my marriage. It's not about you. It's about something you hold. It's about something you have. It's about something you know. It's about your territory. So think about that, and then you can start fighting back. The enemy wants the territory of your marriage, your children's future. He wants the territory of your peace of mind. But today, the rescue vessel has landed. And we are serving an eviction notice to every spirit of chaos because new management has arrived on shore. Amen? Amen. And the happy ending. Jesus delivers him. The man is sitting there clothed, calm, and in his right mind. I honestly don't know why they haven't made a big blockbuster movie about this. Because Jesus takes out the legion, they go out, they infest all these pigs, the pigs go out, drown, and you can hear the trumpets in the sky. Da, 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 da. I don't know about the trumpets, but I imagine it that way. So now the man has a straight mind. He's calm, he's cool, and he looks at the boat and begs Jesus, let me go with you. And he wants to leave the place of his pain. But Jesus says, no. Jesus says, go home to your people. This is why he is the unlikely hero. He didn't get to sail away into a new life. He was commissioned to go back to the very people who had watched him fall, to the very people who had chained him up. He became the resident missionary. He reclaimed the territory for God, one conversation at a time. Just one conversation at a time. By the time Jesus came back to that region, sometime later, a whole city was ready for him because one man stayed to tell his story. Because of one man who stayed behind to tell his story. Today is a very special day. We got one man who was recognized by God and who was called to be by his side one more time. And at the same time, we have several people who are here today who are going to get baptized. These are the people who are now going to be commissioned to bring people to Jesus one conversation at a time. Amen?